What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the live stream. I know I promised you guys that I would do another live today. And this was very, very interesting to me because I don't want to just, give Pam Bondi the benefit of the doubt anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly think that she should resign, but that's just my opinion. No, he's just crackers. It's actually a white cracker. White saltine crackers. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna actually analyze this conversation between Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino. These were the main two people talking about, oh yeah, we got the Epstein list. And Epstein and all of his people he was hanging around with, they're going to pay the price for their crimes. I didn't call you a white cracker. I said I'm eating white crackers. I'm eating white crackers. But yeah, guys. So we gotta see what did they do with these files, because somebody got to be held accountable for this. There needs to be an actual answer. There's absolutely no way that Jeffrey Epstein just, he unalived himself. Oh, there was no list. Oh, there were no clients. Now we all know for sure there was definitely a masseuse book. There was flight logs, and now they don't want to say a client list, but he did have a list of people in a little black book that people mysteriously don't know what it was for, but it was a little black book with their names and their contact information next to it. You guys don't think that's suspicious? Come on, man. But without further ado, you guys know I hate hearing myself talk during the live streams. Let's get right into it, guys. Make sure we stay respectful in the chats. And if we do get any super chats, guys, they are very much appreciated. And we are going in.
In addition to so many of these other stories that we are covering, want to kind of dive into something that's really playing out on social media, but also within the Trump White House. And this is a very, very vehement disagreement over what to do about the Jeffrey Epstein memo that the DOJ and the FBI released earlier this week, essentially saying, one, that the case is closed, and two, that Jeffrey Epstein did not and was not murdered, that he did, in fact, commit suicide and kill himself. But now in the wake of all this, it seems, according to the...
My thing is this, he doesn't have any benefit of doing that if Jeffrey Epstein is a Mossad agent, right? That's basically like the CIA for Israel. If he's a Mossad agent, and if his goal is to basically blackmail all of our most powerful people in America, why would he unalive himself? What benefit does he have from doing that?
The reporting out there are internal disagreements about how all of this was handled here. Axios has this reporting, and this is a scoop. That means exclusive to Axios, that FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took a day off from work after a White House clash with AG Pam Bondi over their handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. That's according to 4 sources familiar with the conflict, telling Axios that. So I thought that was interesting. Also, our hearing from Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. He says this: I worked closely. If we could go back to the first one there. He says this: I worked closely with FBI Director Kash Patel and FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino on the joint FBI and DOJ memo regarding the Epstein files, saying all of us signed off on the contents of the memo and the conclusions stated in the memo. He goes on to say this.
What did it say in the memo?
He says the suggestion by anyone that there was any daylight between the FBI and DOJ leadership on this memo's composition and release is patently false. The White House weighing in on the statement, and the controversy as well in this is from Harrison Fields, White House Deputy Press Secretary, saying, quote, this work is being carried out seamlessly and with unity. Any attempt to sow division within this team is baseless and distracts from the real progress being made in restoring public safety and pursuing justice for all.
Are
So
you
wanted to make sure we got that in there. I should have let.
Are you pursuing justice for all? Because if you guys are saying there's no list and that Jeffrey Epstein just magically unalived himself because he felt so bad of what he did, then what justice is anyone getting? No one's getting any justice because the the teenage girls or little girls who potentially are teenagers or grown adults now, they still have to go through this trauma. And all of them didn't get trafficked to Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested for trafficking kids. She did not traffic all of those kids just to Jeffrey Epstein. Come on, man.
Led with this.
Now I know you guys seen Prince Andrew back in the scoop now. Ever since they said, oh, there is no list and Epstein, unalive himself. This dude, Prince Andrew, been everywhere. This dude been balling like he was Kobe.
I apologize, but this is the headline here. This is the lead. Many are reporting Dan Bongino is considering leaving his post at the FBI amid the Epstein document drama here. Who's covering it? Of course, our friend there at the Washington Examiner, who covers the DOJ and the FBI each and every day. That's, of course, reporter Kaylin Deese. He joins me. Kaylin, good to see you here. Boy, what a Friday. So I think it's safe to say that the kind of internal battles regarding the Epstein memo, the Jeffrey Epstein case writ large, have really reached a fever pitch here. What are you hearing? Have you spoken to people who are close with Bongino? What is his frame of mind? What is he thinking right now? Is he going to resign? Is he going to be in the job by the end of the weekend?
Thanks for having me on, Andrew. Well, to be quite honest with you, there's been crickets from my end on everything that the FBI is going through right now. There's been more information coming out.
There has been crickets from the FBI's end. So Cash Patel, what's going on, man? And I know he's not lying on that because even Pam Bondi has sent Cash Patel and the FBI a letter saying, the Epstein files are delayed again. So Cash Patel basically said that he had to delay the Epstein files for another week or two for unusual circumstances, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know what the hell that was supposed to mean, but Cash Patel definitely dropped the ball on that. I can't even blame Pam Bondi on that one. But she was the lead person when it comes to the Epstein files. So, yeah.
Coming out from my sources over at the Justice Department, which have confirmed this friction that is happening right now within the Justice Department and the FBI, which we know are one and the same, despite being separated by different buildings. And so this is very much a very real situation that we are confronting right now. And we have reporting as of this hour that not only is there a consideration that if Deputy Director Bongino resigns, that perhaps even the director, Cash Patel, could go along as well. And that is coming from the Daily Wire and some others.
Wow. So Dan Bongino and Cash Patel thinking about resigning? What are y'all thinking about that? What do y'all think about that, chat? Now, I'm going to be honest. Dan Bongino, I'm really disappointed in him, man. He was one of the main people talking about the Epstein file, too. Then come out of nowhere and say, oh, Jeffrey Epstein, he didn't unalive himself. He's basically saying he did unalive himself. Sorry, they was basically saying he wasn't murdered. But they were saying there's this one conspiracy theory, right? They were saying that Jeffrey Epstein's body is actually somewhere in Israel, allegedly, guys, because we don't want to get flagged or banned on YouTube. But they said that his body was actually replaced by Bill Clinton's brother or somebody like that, somebody's brother, and that Jeffrey Epstein had a face change, and he's currently living in Israel with an active bank account. That's what I heard, guys. Now, don't go clipping me and trying to make me go viral or nothing, because I'm not trying to end up in nobody's dumpster, okay? But we're going to say allegedly, all right? We're going to say allegedly.
Sources out there. Now, there also seems to be, with that, this almost an effort to present a wedge of sorts. Sort of, we're not going to stick around if she sticks around. And that's, of course, referring.
Tobias, I'm America first, but you do know there are so many people in American government that's born in other countries, like Ted Cruz. Did you know he was Canadian? Because I didn't know that. Did you guys know Ted Cruz was Canadian?
To the Attorney General Pam Bondi. So that is something that is very dire in this situation. Of course, it's not confirmed that this is sort of the wedge that is happening, but there are reports about it. And so it definitely adds more tension to the scenario that we're confronting here.
So is it safe to say, or is it accurate to say, Kalen, that camps are forming, pro-Bongino camp, pro-Bondi camp? Have we seen that play out? And if so, why?
Well, certainly on social media, you're definitely seeing that. If you go onto X right now, there's multiple users, prominent and those who are just users in general, that are saying essentially that this is something that is falling back on Pam Bondi, who we know had the binders released to the influencers. There's some criticism that she's received for doing that. But on the other hand, you're also seeing some pushback, at least within the Justice Department, saying that everyone signed off on this memo. And that's coming from the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, as you put forth on there. Something of note that I would say is that when you're having somebody like Blanche, who we know was the president's former defense attorney in his criminal cases last year, when you're getting a statement like what he's saying, that there is no daylight between the divisions on this issue, that is a very affirmative stance coming from high up in the Justice Department. And for the Justice Department to be making claims like that, the fact that there is this current
That boy Don Jr. in the cut.
notion out there that Bongino is frustrated with the way that the Justice Department has handled it.
And I do agree, we do need something on the MLK files, okay? We talked about Epstein. We talked about JFK. Okay, now what's up with Martin Luther King, man? Why isn't nobody trying to talk about that? That's interesting.
Sort of speaks to the fact that we're seeing so many leaks coming out of the FBI saying that this is something that he's heavily considering. And I think that, when it comes to the question of if there's going to be an effort to push out Pam Bondi, I would note that earlier this week, we saw Donald Trump sitting there in the cabinet meeting, expressing a lot of frustration about a reporter that even asked about this question.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like he didn't even really want to let the Attorney General answer the question, although she did. And, therein lies sort of the main question here is Donald Trump himself going to pivot on this issue, or is he going to kind of stick in this lane where we've seen him kind of dismissing the concerns overall about the Epstein files release?
Yeah, I mean, his posture and his rhetoric at that cabinet meeting earlier this week was essentially to dismiss it. He thinks it's some type of distraction. I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially said, why are we still talking about this creep Epstein here? And so you're right. Any decision on what to do at the highest echelons of the FBI and DOJ would ultimately come, yes, to President Trump. So you do have to imagine, what is he thinking about this fight that is playing out here? You're talking about leaks, though. I want to read from the New York Times' reporting. They say this, that Pam Bondi and her allies believe Bongino planted stories in the conservative news media, blaming her for the backlash after an announcement earlier this week the Epstein case would be closed. That's according to officials close to the situation. The New York Times also...
But why would he do that, though? Why would he throw Pam Bondi under the bus? I would be looking more at Kash Patel, if anything, because he's the one delaying the files. He's the one delaying everything for unusual circumstances. So, I mean, what's really going on?
Reports this, it erupted into an angry face-to-face confrontation at the White House on Wednesday, 2 days ago, when an irate Bondi accused Bongino of leaking information to the media in the presence of the FBI Director, Kash Patel, the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, and one of Wiles' deputies, Taylor Budowich. Bongino denied it, according to those sources here. So we've seen some of these fights play out in public there at the White House. Of course, I'm reminded of the infighting between Elon Musk and cabinet secretaries and the president himself. Caroline Leavitt has described that in the past as transparency. The American people should see these fights play out in real time here. It's not just, though, about the American people. It's about this subset of the MAGA base who are, frankly, fixated and obsessed with the Jeffrey Epstein case. How do you allay those concerns, those fears that the White House doesn't have the goods, or if they do have the goods, they're not releasing them? And a lot of people are scratching their heads as to why, if that is the case here. How do they answer those questions, Kayla?
Okay, so we know you're going to watch this demo.
That's a very good question. And I honestly think they don't need to deflect this.
Something that,
DOJ.
however you cut it, it's not going to be easy from a political standpoint how the White House is going to address this, because there seems to be a cohort of the MAGA base out there who believes that no matter how many times it's said, there is actually more information out there that is not getting released, and you're not going to convince them one way or the other. And so it really comes down to, well, are we going to see more information come from this? That was a question that we discussed the other day whenever you had me on here. And there's been a few updates, at least in a transparency lawsuit that's filed by Judicial Watch, that there is still ongoing communications between the Justice Department and that FOIA request happening in there. Although I do believe that there have been some decisions to table the next status update until, I believe, September on that matter. So, and it still remains to be seen whether there will actually be any sort of turn up of additional evidence from that. Now, I will say that the Washington Examiner did some reporting earlier today on some claims that have been going around from someone who is prominent in the Epstein story, as far as we've seen over the years. And that's from Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, who made the rounds yesterday in some shows talking about how he believes that there is information out there that is not being put forth to the public that needs to be released. Now, we followed up with Alan Dershowitz and asked him what he means by this. What is he referring to? And he clarified that there are these cases in New York, both the criminal case of Epstein that had a grand jury that included sealed information, as well as the civil case brought by the deceased Virginia Giuffre, who died earlier this year by suicide, according to her family, and against Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who is also serving a 20-year sentence behind bars for being an accomplice, so to speak. And
what's the craziest conspiracy theory? I believe. That's a good one, but the biggest conspiracy theory I believe is that probably them J boys probably control our intelligence and our government.
in his case,
Which is probably not a conspiracy theory at this point anymore, right?
now asking Dershowitz about who these judges were, he wasn't telling anything.
Also, guys, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. It does help the algorithm when you guys like the video. So, yeah, let's get those likes up if we can. Thank you.
But we do know that these cases still exist out there. There are sealed filings. We verified that through checking the court docket. So that is something, too, that seems to be almost sort of a bridge between this blame shifting that we are seeing between the FBI and the DOJ. You have this renowned Professor Dershowitz, who also has been through a defamation fight where it resulted in Giuffre taking back some of the allegations that she had previously made about sexual assault that he had allegedly committed. So there is a complexity there with some claims coming from him. But I will say that there are these sealed filings that are out there. So he's putting forth this idea that it's not the DOJ's fault, it's not the FBI's fault, but it's the judges that have still not unsealed these filings.
Yeah, and I just have to know, Kaylin, that was a great exclusive report you sent over my way that you filed today. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. You report this. Alan Dershowitz said last night that 2 federal judges in New York are keeping key court records surrounding Jeffrey Epstein under seal to, quote, protect certain people named in litigation related to his sex trafficking operation. You just kind of elucidated that reporting for us here. Dershowitz told you, quote, there are judges who are protecting people I know that for a fact. You cited, though, that he wouldn't say who those judges were. In the meantime, let's get back, though, to the inside fight in the White House here. Do you think this is going to get even more pronounced, even more heated going into the weekend here? I mean, Axios is reporting in their scoop, Bongino didn't even come into work today, kind of highlighting how very frustrated he is with how this all went down here. He's only been in that.
Oh, wow. We got a $10 super chat from Space Lord Month. Said, buy some dip for them crackers. Yo, I got dip, man. Trust me, I got dip. But, you know, just crackers just need some saltine right now, you know? That's all I need right now, man. But thank you, Space Lord. I really do appreciate that a lot, man. That really goes a long way. This don't happen without you guys, man. Thank you so much.
Job, what, 4 months? Patel and Bondi and their jobs for what, 6 months here? They're very new in these roles. Is this going to be the issue that really presents some type of cleavage for them? Are they going to all get back on the same page? Is it all going to be nice at DOJ and FBI in the wake of this or not?
Imagine being able to build anything.
Guys. But yeah, it's really looking fishy on both ends, really all three ends.
I think that there's something to be said here.
Are they ever going to get to the inside fight? Oh, okay. They get into it.
About some of the promises that have been made by the FBI and some of the works of the DOJ that we're seeing put forth. Again, we're only 6 months into this.
Who are your favorite white people? I got so many, bro. I can't even count on my hands and feet. But if I had to choose my top 3 white people, probably Brad Pitt would probably be one of them because he's in Fight Club and that's my favorite movie. Trump, of course, because he's the best president that's ever lived, in my opinion, in my lifetime. I like Sean Strickland, even though he's an asshole. I like Sean Strickland, man. He's a pretty good dude. Who else I like that's white? I like Matt Walsh. He's pretty funny. He did that "What Is a Woman" thing. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like Larry Bird. Jokic. Who else? I like a lot of white folks now I think about it. All the founding fathers, right? Come on, bro. If you don't like the founding fathers, you might as well don't live in America. That's an automatic. I mean, that's just disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you disrespect the founding fathers, just leave, bro. You can go back to Africa, go back to Mexico, go back to Venezuela, go back to China, go back to Ukraine. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, Matt Walsh is a real ass nigga, bro. Matt Walsh is the guy. I'm not really too fond of Ben Shapiro, though. Not saying because he's Jewish, but not going to get into that one. I just think he's a very snooty guy. Like, Tucker Carlson's snooty too, but he's snooty, like, he's funny with it, if that makes sense. Like Tucker Carlson is funny when he's snooty. Ben Shapiro just comes off as a know-it-all jerk, and nobody likes those. So let's continue, guys. My bad.
And some of the works of the DOJ that we're seeing put forth. Again, we're only 6 months into this administration. And as we know with investigations, those things take time to see the results that come through. But the FBI has made some.
Oh, yeah. Tucker Carlson, of course. I think he in my top 5. I love Tucker Carlson, bro.
Some promises that they're going to be reopening some investigations, such as.
I like Asmongold, too. Y'all know who Asmongold is? I love Asmongold. I don't really like Moist Critical like that. He's just a weirdo in my opinion. But Asmongold, I love that dude, man.
The January 6th pipe bomb incident, looking into the Supreme Court leak of the Dobbs decision, looking into the cocaine that was found in the White House under Biden, these are all promises that have yet to yield results. And there are some questions out there, especially from some of the former FBI officials that I've spoken to, about whether there's any additional information that can actually come from some of these efforts that this current FBI is taking. So there's a lot of pressure on this FBI based on the promises that they've made. And if you even look back to some of the interviews that Bongino did earlier this year when he was telling Fox News about the fact that there is no evidence to suggest that otherwise, that Epstein didn't kill himself, he looked shaken up by that. He looked almost distraught that he had to deliver that information to the public. And he even said that, he's, I'm paraphrasing, that he's, sitting behind his desk in these four walls every day, separated from his wife, and almost indicating that there's, a lot of pressure that he's facing in this. Yeah. So when you get down to the core elements here, it's almost like you see a lot of pressure, like you're saying, online about this, about anger against Pam Bondi. But looking at what is the role of the FBI, it's to deliver goods to the DOJ. And the DOJ is often the one disseminating what comes from that or bringing prosecutions from that. And I think that we're definitely not going to just, close up this Friday and see this story eventually disappear. I think that there's going to be continued ongoing discussions about this going forth. And I don't think it's going to get swept under the rug.
But it has to come to somebody being held accountable as well. Like, we can't just say, oh, the Epstein file's gone, when we've been talking about this since, 2006? When he was, really it was way longer than that, but I'm talking about when he got convicted and things like that. Are you from the hood in Chicago? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm from the hood, dude. I mean, I don't mean I have to be a product of my environment, but yeah, I was born and raised and grew up in a rough neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, Shelby Talcott at Semaphore in her reporting said Bongino is considering leaving his post at the FBI soon, though it seems like no formal decision has been made, according to her sources. One source said he's effectively gone, saying,
does Dan Bongino have a guilty conscience, ladies and gentlemen? Why is he resigning? And when are they going to get to the... When are they going to get to it? I don't know.
Quote, we
might have to actually find the video, guys.
Come back if Bondi is held accountable. But to your point, I mean, that's the thing. If you're Dan Bongino and you're this extremely popular podcaster, before you enter federal government service, and you've essentially staked your entire brand as a podcaster on getting to the bottom of the Epstein.
Have I ever robbed a... No, bro. Come on, dude. That's racist. Are you people that bored? Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, when you only got less than 20 people in the chat, then yeah, they tend to get bored, man. But that's why you guys need to like and subscribe so we can't be losers.
In saga. And then you're, into this role here at the federal government. You have power, you have authority to look into it, and you don't have the goods because there may be no goods there. I can imagine that the job must be quite difficult for Bongino in that position that he has found himself in. But I have to ask, though, for so many who do want to see more justice, who are not satisfied that only one person has been held to account for Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's, of course, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's serving a 20-year prison sentence. Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
Only one. Take this charge for me, baby. Take this charge for me. Okay. My name's Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to take a charge for Jeffrey Epstein, a freaking pedo. And now I don't know anything. You guys can literally question this chick, but you guys just choose not to. Why did Cash? Yeah, why bring in Cash and Bongino if they were going to do this? Absolutely. Why even bring up Epstein? Why even bring up Jeffrey Epstein to begin with if you guys are ones that are going to follow up on it? Was this just to get more votes? Like, I'm not understanding. I know the main three things that people were really focused on was illegal immigrants, the economy, and foreign affairs. I understand that. But if you're running on releasing the Epstein list, the JFK files, and the MLK files, something that the people wanted to hear about for a very, 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 very long time, you would think that people would be ready for that, you know?
People cannot be satisfied that only one person has been prosecuted, convicted, and is now in jail. They think there should be more. Why do they think that?
I've been saying she got to go.
Access a customized education
I'm not gonna
experience
lie.
through.
I've been saying Pam Bondi got to go. Like, I know you America first, but this ain't it.
That the DOJ head has to answer to, and by that I mean Pam Bondi, and the fact that we have seen from court filings over the years that there's been alleged to be dozens of victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Flash forward to some comments that Pam Bondi made earlier this year. She said that some of the victims were in the range of 200 to 250. And what's more is this memo that came out, this unsatisfying 2-page memo that didn't deliver much other than the video evidence that we saw from the jailhouse and some additional writings on the department's findings, was that there are 1,000 victims of Epstein, according to what this memo was saying. And so when you look at the sheer number there, not just the sheer number, but the discrepancy from the court filings to what was said earlier this year to the 1,000 that we just got.
Those be the worst people though. Like, you smiling in the mugshot, like you know you gonna get off on the charge and things like that. Like, dude, what's funny?
It's perplexing to people that there would be this number of victims, but not a single additional person that could be charged or prosecuted from it. It doesn't make sense to anyone who looks at this, and it's going to be something that people will not probably be able to rest, because it just defies logic to so many people looking at this situation. So there's a lot of common agreement among online users, people in the public, about discrepancies like this. And so I think that there is going to be continued questions of main justice, and I think that those questions should be asked.
All right. Caitlin Deese with the Washington Examiner. Great reporting as always. Caitlin, have a good weekend. Thanks so much.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, in the meantime here, I want to just highlight some of these posts on X from elected lawmakers, mostly Republicans, who seem to be now taking sides in this fight here. I'm talking about Tim Burchett.
I stand with, Tim Burchett said, I stand with at Dan Bongino. Oh, snap.
The Republican congressman from Tennessee, he says this: I stand with Dan Bongino. So if we see any public declarations or...
This is schoolgirl activity, though. Right, chat? Like, why are they acting like schoolgirls? Oh, I'm going to go on this side, and if you're on that side, then you're not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Grow up. We need to be standing with America. What's going on, Miss LaTanya? How's it going?
There at least any more of them, of those lawmakers who are taking sides in this. Though we brought you the news, we brought you the statement from Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. He says everyone's on the same page. They worked in tandem here, but there's nothing to see here, although that would contradict some of the reporting we've just brought you about the fact that Dan Bongino is apparently considering resigning over this. Blanche, though, saying the suggestion by anyone that there was any daylight between FBI and DOJ leadership is patently false.
Wow. So hopefully, well, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Dan Bongino should resign? Let me know. Now I'm gonna try to find the video of them actually having words. Is there a video on that? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try to find it. Let's see, guys. I want to see if they say Bongino may quit FBI over Bondi's Epstein file move. So was there no clash? Dang it. Oh, man. I almost actually want to see what MSNBC got to say. Because you know they loving this. You know the left is loving this garbage. So I'm pretty sure it probably happened behind closed doors. All right, guys. I guess why not? Let's just get a take from MSN DNC. All righty. Sorry. Let me share my screen back. All right, guys. So let's see what MSNDNC got to say. Now, you guys already know they're going to be having a blast about the Trump administration. The Trump administration basically fighting amongst themselves and things like that. So, without further ado, guys, let's try to get through this video without the fake news saying crazy crap.
We have some news breaking on the story we brought you at the top of the hour, the turmoil atop the FBI. Two sources familiar with the matter telling NBC News that Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, may be leaving his job after a heated confrontation with Attorney General Pam Bondi over his frustration with how the Justice Department has handled the Jeffrey Epstein files. As we reported earlier, Bongino did not come to work today after a heated argument with Pam Bondi Wednesday. Joining us now is my colleague, NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. Also joining us, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Al Sharpton's here as well. Vaughn, let me read from what you and our colleague Ken Delanian are reporting. Bongino did not report to work today amid speculation about his whereabouts, the sources said. It came after a heated confrontation Wednesday at a meeting with Pam Bondi and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, during which Bongino and FBI Director Kash Patel were asked about a news story suggesting they were dissatisfied with the decision not to release any additional Epstein files, the sources said. The meeting was first reported by Axios. Take me inside what the suspicion is that Patel and Bongino leaked. I mean, the irony of the polygraph story we started our broadcast with, and you're reporting just now, is that Bondi and Wiles seem frustrated that Bongino and Patel have gone public with their discontent.
And I think in large part it's because of the pressure that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have placed upon themselves, Nicole. We have covered the litany of promises that those two men, upon taking their FBI posts, had made to the American population, that they were going to investigate and reveal everything about Jeffrey Epstein, about the January 6th committee and its investigation. They were going to investigate and reveal who the pipe bomber was. They were going to investigate the 2020 election. And yet we're 7 months in now, and they have come up with effectively nothing on those fronts here. And that is where I am told along.
Well, that's not true. They've come up with a lot of things, just not the most important things when it comes to the files. But I mean, well, I got to give it to them when it comes to the assassination attempt. I'm not really sure why they're not pushing that. I think that would be very, very good for the American people if we see who the hell actually tried to take out our presidential nominee for the Republican Party. You don't think people are still thinking about that? That's something that I think about every single day. Man, who was working with Matthew Crooks or with Thomas Matthews or whatever the hell his name is? It was actually 2 assassination attempts, by the way.
With our colleague Ken Delanian and Monica Alba, that these two men were frustrated by the feeling that they have been stifled by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Now, to the extent that that is reality, and to the extent that the Attorney General is acting as a shield or actually putting some parameters around their work and their investigations and the basis into them, I think that is the question that each of us are going to have in our reporting here in the days ahead. But these two men, I'm told that Dan Bongino is considering resigning from his post. Kash Patel has not gone as far as to suggest that, but we'll be looking, I'm told, at how Dan Bongino responds to this. I'm told that both men meet with the Attorney General on a daily basis, and that they have not kept their displeasures hidden from her. I know that Pam Bondi was at the White House 1 week ago. They have continued, the White House, to stand behind her as the Attorney General. At some point in time, though, this is going to come to a head, and it may be here in real time, Nicole.
I mean, Vaughn, let me just sift through some of this. I mean, they put pressure on themselves. What do you mean? I mean, these things are not facts. What kind of pressure do they put on themselves? What do you mean?
Dan Bongino, right? And he could leave this job and go back to a podcast that undoubtedly made him a lot of money. He had.
All right, soy boy, calm down, okay? This is why you guys are not credible anymore. Okay, just report the news. Nobody need all the gay comments. Okay, nobody need all of the gay insults. All you gotta do is report news, buddy. MSDNC don't have no room, no space making any insults about any soul on this earth. Do you guys know you guys are the least credible news station in America? Do you guys not know that? You guys have no credibility anymore. Like, stop with the weird ass jokes and just report news, bro.
Had millions of people that would tune in, hundreds of thousands, depending on which episode you're watching. And for him, dating back to 2022, 2023, you go back to the archives, and he became popular in large part, especially Kash Patel as well. They made money off of these conspiracy theories and saying that they needed to get Donald Trump back into office. And they kept this idea that if they were in the position of the FBI, they would dismantle it, they would reform it, they'd get the corruption out of the FBI. They'd get the longtime prosecutors out of there. You've had these very conversations, and to a large extent, they have upheld the promise of getting rid of top officials that have worked inside of the agency. But when it comes to proving the things that they made money off of.
Also, guys, I just want to let you know I'm going to be taking a few days off, so I'm going to be just pumping out content with for these next, 3 days, I believe. Well, really today as well, because I did do like a 3-hour live stream earlier, plus this today. So 4 days, okay? So today, tomorrow, day after that, and the day after that. I'm going to try to do another IRL for you guys. I did do a IRL, I believe it was, 3 days ago? And it was basically one conservative versus Chicago. That video, guys, is very, 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 very good. I'm debating some people in Chicago. Check it out if you guys want to watch it. But a lot of people basically agree that black people kill more black people than white people in Chicago and in the United States of America, and probably in the world, guys. So please check out that video, guys, if you haven't already. And let's try to finish this trash video with MSDNC, because I'm honestly over this already, man.
For a number of years now, the things that not only they made money off of, but ultimately put them in the position of power, now is the time to serve up the evidence. And so far, they haven't been able to do that.
It's not like your party was looking for any answers from Trump. You guys didn't believe a word he said. So why do you guys care all of a sudden? Now you guys are looking
didn't make enough money to.
Now you guys are looking for answers from Trump? That don't even make sense. I thought Trump was a liar and he was Hitler and all that other crazy BS. Now you guys are looking for answers for the American people from Donald Trump. Doesn't make sense, but okay.
To buy t-shirts that fit. Vaughn, what is the, so Bongino feels like there's more and he wants more of the Epstein files released. I mean, that seems like an absolutely catastrophic outcome. I never thought I'd say this, but Donald Trump better hope that Dan Bongino doesn't leave and go back to his podcast where he made millions of dollars attacking the FBI, because his base is about to absolutely spill over, and whatever toxic brew is inside there is about to come spilling out if he leaves of the Epstein files. I mean, what is the degree of alarm from the folks that'll be left holding the bag.
Okay, I think that's the part, Nicole, that I think that folks need to understand here is that they have gotten severe pushback from MAGA worlds in their base for not providing everything on Jeffrey Epstein. And
look how he's smiling, bro. Like, dude, I'm telling you guys, this is why we should not fight amongst each other. This is democratic behavior ultimately. Now, I know that this was a promise, and this was a very, very big one in my eyes. I'm not too sure about how everybody else feel about the Epstein list, but I mean, I think this one was pretty huge, guys, because there's victims behind this. So, me personally, I really was thinking that Trump was going to give us something on Epstein, but apparently not. And now the left and the right is criticizing Trump. We already get criticized from the left all the time. But now you got actual MAGA supporters on top of the crazy far left criticizing Trump. It just looks really, 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 really bad. Even I was criticizing Trump during this because what the hell do you mean there's no list? I can see if you said, oh, well, we didn't get the whole list because maybe something was kind of burned or, you know, half of the evidence was thrown in the garbage or something. But no list. No list. Just absolutely no list. Jeffrey Epstein, he just unalived himself because he just felt like a bad guy for being a child predator, him and his wife, who she also has trafficked to other people other than Jeffrey Epstein. But hey, whatever.
And so in response, they really only have one choice if you're looking at this in some strategical ballgame sense.
That?
And that is to effectively shift the blame to somebody else. And that's Attorney General Pam Bondi. And Pam Bondi hasn't done herself any good by handing out those binders to those social media right-wing influencers a couple months ago that ended up having nothing in them. Look at Laura Loomer has suddenly become a voice of, you know, demanding transparency, right? I mean, we know the conspiracy theories that she has continually spewed and spread, and she is she's vile in the way that she describes or calls other people that she perceives as political opponents. But the one thing that she does have going for her is the argument that MAGA has the obligation to uphold to the ideas of the transparency that for the last years they claimed that they would bring if Donald Trump came back into office.
My head's about to explode. I wish so badly that I didn't care about facts because this would be so much more fun.
Oh my fucking God. I know damn well that is not Al Sharpton on the right side of the screen. Dude, get the hell off of my screen, you damn race baiter clown.
But is it, I mean, what is the fact that Laura Loomer's on the side of the truth and Pam, I mean, is Donald Trump's name as, what's his face? Elon Musk said, is there a belief among MAGA that Trump's name is in the Epstein files? I mean, you're saying that Laura Loomer is on the side of transparency. Bondi is covering it up. What do they believe Bondi's covering up, Vaughn?
Hey, look, if that's your N-word, then you and Al Sharpton can go pick cotton together on the Democratic plantation. That's what y'all can go do. If that's your N-word, then go back to the Democratic plantation with him, dude. Sorry. I don't respect this clown at all. Him and his stupid slick back hair.
They believe that there's a pedophile ring that is going to implicate a ton of other people. This goes back to QAnon conspiracy theories, right? Donald Trump, for this part, there is still this idea that somehow he is the one that was ultimately going to bring this ring to an end. I know that we know the facts completely run counter to that. We know that the two men had a relationship. Donald Trump has acknowledged it himself. But I think that this is where you go to, if you get into the real deep crevices of, the MAGA population of America here. I mean, I think it would take a long time to really dissect just how far and how deep this goes in the belief that these other people were going to be implicated.
Yeah, that's enough of MSDNC for me, guys. You guys know I like to mix up the content. Try to watch some left wing every now and then. Try to get a different perspective on stuff, But it sounds like the same garbage that everybody else is saying, guys. So, what do you guys think, man? who do we blame for this? Because ultimately, I blame all of them. I blame the whole administration that had any connections with, revealing the Epstein list, which is Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, and Dan Bongino. So, some people think it is a distraction. You are right about that. But ultimately, what are they distracting us from? Not really sure. But let's be honest, guys. I mean, if, and that's a big if, because a lot of people saying that this prosecutor named Alex, he said that Epstein actually had connections with intelligence guys. So that being Mossad, is it now? I'm just saying, guys, my conspiracy theorist brain is just going off right now. Is it possible that Jeffrey Epstein came from Israel because his last name is Epstein, for crying out loud, So is it possible that Jeffrey Epstein came from Israel into America to blackmail our biggest, people here that live in America, whether that's our banks, our bank owners, biggest actors, directors, and things like that, our biggest stockbrokers, our biggest politicians. I mean, I honestly think it's more in a 90 percentile because Israel has so much influence on our government, and that's the number one funded country like that we fund in the world. So I think he's from New York. I mean, yeah, but still, that's why I say probably not probable, but it's possible, guys. Okay, probably not probable. You might be right, but it is possible, guys. But it wasn't really a fight that I saw. I guess a lot of people were saying that Dan Bongino and Pam Bundy got into like a little verbal altercation, but I'm thinking it was a video on it. All I've been seeing was other people react to it. So I didn't really see a video. I'll try to look again here, but to my knowledge, I don't really see a video. Yeah. Wait, let's see. Well, nope. Yeah, that's another commentary. Yep. So, yeah, no video on that, guys. But we do know that sources tell us that they've been in a verbal altercation. They're blaming each other. And now you have people, in the White House that are siding with Bongino. They're siding with Pam Bondi. We don't really care whose side you guys on. We just really wanted the list and the people who committed these heinous acts. We don't want to see any graphic stuff, like that's not what the American people are asking for. Uh but yeah, what was it like growing up in the trenches with the YNs? Tough, bro. Tough, okay? Very, very tough. But that's the end of the live stream, guys. Almost like an hour in. What do you guys think? Whose fault is it? Is it Pam Bundy's? Is it Cash Patel's? Is it Dan Bongino's? Is it Trump's? Let me know, guys, because somebody have to be held accountable for this, in my opinion. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. Make sure you guys tune in next time. I will see you later. And I'm out of here, guys. Peace.